Hey, what's going on, guys? Bandai's new version of their HG Scopedog kit is here with the HG Burglary Dog we're going to be taking a look at for today's video. It's the Scopedog with a bunch of equipment added onto it, weapons and equipment, and it looks pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and get into it for today's video. And so starting off with the box art here, we got some really cool artwork here of the Burglary Dog, where you can see a lot of really nice weathering there on the design, some great lighting effects and details, so that looks really cool here. And on the side of the box, you can see this is definitely thicker than the release of the Scopedog's kit. It was a pretty thin box, so we're definitely going to have a lot more stuff in here. We can see that highlighted here on the side. So it's got the trample riggers, does have some of the same features of the articulated parts, of course, how the backpack fits on the back, a little bit more about the weapons and equipment here. You can see the droppers folding gun there on the backpack, the missile pod and everything. So here's all the equipment laid out. The rifle looks like it's going to be exactly the same, but all the other new equipment is going to be added on there. On the other side of the box, on the top here, we got to look at the kit just there, front and back, a couple of detail images, how that's going to look once it's all painted, and also highlighting the fact that it's using the 3mm peg attachment system, so you could use different parts from like the Kyokai Senki kits or 30 minutes missions or other Bandai option parts you could use on this using those hard points, which is pretty cool. So checking out the contents inside, some of which will be familiar, obviously, from the Scopedog, but at least here for the manual, we've got that box art there on the front, around on the back side, pretty much everything that we saw on the outside of the box. Everything is in Japanese and in English too, which is nice, and you do have the color guide down here at the bottom. There's also mentioned down here about some of the other available products, obviously the Scopedog's kit, and then the expansion set 1 and expansion set 2 that are also available. Those would be premium Bandai products. Opening up to the inside here, you can see is our parts list is going to be there in color, and the last parts of the construction are also going to be here in color as well. And again, it's talking about utilizing those 3mm hard points there for customization. Most of the construction is going to be here on the inside, just there in black and white as usual. But before we get to the runners, we do also have these stickers. Now these are just going to be for the scope on the face, and these are plastic stickers, so which means they have a thin layer of plastic on top of there, and that means they're going to look really nice there on the kit. And of course you do have extras, as you really only need one of each of those. So the first half of the runners are going to be from the original Scopedog kit. A runner here in that standard green. That's going to continue here on to the B runner as well. There you can see some parts for the arms, legs, feet. C runner is going to be in that lighter green color for our lighter accent. And then runners D and E here, runner D being in that kind of pale intermediate blue, runner E being in this sort of light purplish gray color. Lastly, from the original kit, runner F is a few more parts there in dark green, and runner G in this dark navy blue is parts for the rifle. Now getting to the new runners for this kit, we have APH1. I can only assume that runners APA through APG were runners that were used for the expansion sets, and so we're starting off like from H here. We have H1 and then H2 for some parts here in dark green. Runner AP I1, I2, and I3 are going to be some more parts here in that intermediate blue color. There's runner I3. Runner APJ2 is going to be some parts here in red. And then runner APK1 is interesting, as this is a soft rubber part here for the ammo belt, so that should work pretty nicely. Runners L1 and L2, a few more parts here in that dark navy color. Runners M1 and M2, a few more parts here in light green. And lastly, a runner N here is going to be some more parts in dark green, and that's it for all of the runners. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. Alright guys, and here's the kit all built up. Really cool, a lot of fun once again with this one. Now if you built HG Scopedog kit before from Bandai and you just wish it had more stuff, this is definitely the version for you, because now it's just packed with a bunch more weaponry, and then also the parts there on the legs as well. So we've got additional kind of equipment and artillery and everything on there. So a whole bunch more stuff added for this kit. So we have everything that you might have enjoyed about the original HG Scopedog kit, plus more. And then we have some really nice option parts included here as well. So we'll get into all of that. Actually, we'll start off by taking a look at the accessories and take a look at the kit in a bit more detail. But overall, once again, a really cool kit here. Still kind of a shame that there were some additional accessory, like kind of option part sets kits that were unfortunately premium Bandai, but if you didn't pick up those or weren't able to get those, this is a good opportunity for you to just get a standard release Scopedog kit that does come with a lot more stuff on there. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now, aside from what's on the kit, really the only kind of main accessory that we have here is going to be the rifle, which is once again the same as what we saw with the original release, featuring some nice color separation on there, some nice details. It does have a bit of a seam line going down the middle of those dark blue parts. The ammo cartridge here on the side is once again one of those kind of very thick plastic parts, so it's just a single piece here where you will have a little bit of some sink there in the plastic, I think, and then you got some mold lines to take care of on that, but fortunately no seam line, and that was again one of the features of this kit from the original rollout of it that Bandai advertised, where we had like kind of thicker pieces that allowed for some nice detail on the underside. Like for example, on the underside of these flat parts here, you have some nice detail there as well. Aside from that, we do also have an option hand. Aside from these weapon holding hands that we've got there, you have for the left side this open hand, which is sort of like a rifle support hand. You've got that one there. And then otherwise, basically just option parts for some of the armor. So like for the back skirt plate there, you have this option piece that has the hard points on it. So it's basically just parts that will allow you to plug more stuff onto this. Option parts here for the sides of the leg, if you want to have a hard point on there. We've got an action base adapter. Again, kind of strange that for these kits, they're engineered in a way that doesn't have just a hole there underneath the crotch part, but we'd have like this action base adapter that you plug up onto there to be able to put this onto an action base. Here on the sides of the torso, if you did want to opt to not have these parts on there, you do have these option pieces here, which will basically just plug that hole on the side. And speaking of which, you'll notice that the vent on this side is a little bit different than the vent part we have on this side, because this has the part that kind of goes back a little bit further and meant to look like it kind of is a part of what's here on this gun and everything. But if you wanted to not have that, you just have your regular vent piece there for that side. A couple of other bits too, like for example, you have just this loose hanging hook here on this side. On this side, you have the smoke launchers that are attached on there. But again, if you don't want to have that, you do just have the regular hook part that you can put on to the left shoulder as well. And then option part for the arm, which will give you a hard point here on the arm as well. And then the thigh parts are also new. The original thigh parts, let me show you, this is, so you do have these left over. They have a rotation point there kind of in the middle of the thigh part, which works pretty well, but looks a little bit odd. But what they've done with these new ones is made that joint kind of inside the thigh part here, so you still get that rotation there at the thigh, and it's not a ton, but enough, I think. And it doesn't have the thigh armor actually split. It's just like a solid piece there now, which seems a bit more logical, so that's nice. These front skirt parts are also new, but once again, they do feature some nice detail up underneath. Nice detail there up underneath the feet. These wheels are not functional there, by the way. And then just to kind of speak on the kit a bit more generally, kind of what's carried over from the original version and what's new. So you still have the punching gimmick here of the forearm extending there to do that gimmick like so. And then for the visor, once again, the scope can be moved side to side. You can also rotate that if you want. And once again, unfortunately, you cannot open up the visor or open up the whole chest, like kind of cockpit section at all. That's, I'm not sure about the visor part, if that's able to be moved, but at least for opening up the cockpit, that is going to be a part of the P Bandai set. It's one of the features that has is a opening kind of functional cockpit part. So anyway, up here, up over this shoulder, that missile pod is just going to basically rotate forward and back. You have a couple of points of articulation there that you can kind of twist that around to get it more kind of pointed straight. And then obviously the large cannon over here on this side will fold forward like that, and then also up over the shoulder. And it's quite long, kind of nice design there for that one. And you have this soft part, which I feel like I have on there upside down just because the way that has like a bend in it. I feel like that's not correct on there, but the new backpack part does look really nice, sort of simple in its design, doesn't have a ton of detail, but that is kind of in line with the series. And then going down here onto the legs, of course, these front parts will fold forward and down like that on the front. And then these parts on the back also will extend down and out so that you can put those treads down flat like so. And once again, these are not actually like functioning wheels, it's just a part that just looks like that. But the details on there do look really nice. And then of course the kit can do the down form as well, which I'll demonstrate for you guys here in just a moment. But let's go ahead then and take a look at some different poses here with this guy. So like I said at the start of the review, basically it's the same Scopedog kit that you may have built before with the original release, but this one has a lot more included, which is definitely nice, and I feel like does make the original HD kit a little bit obsolete then at this point. There's not really too much point in buying that one. With this one, you basically get all the same stuff plus a whole bunch more, unless maybe you just wanted to save some money. Then I guess that would be a good reason to get the original version. So with the Burglary Dog here, it's basically just like a DX set version of the Scopedog. So this is definitely the one that I would recommend you guys to get between the two. But again, that said, if you just wanted, you know, the more simple set, you don't really want all the extra stuff and you just want to save some money, then definitely picking up the original version would be the way to go. One thing to note too about the ammo cartridge on the rifle, that's one solid piece, but the ones that are attached onto the side skirts, those are actually two pieces put together, so you will have seam lines on those. And overall on this kit, there are a couple of seam lines here and there, mostly on like the weapons and accessory parts, not really so much on the main body. So there will be a couple of seam lines that you will have to worry about, nothing really too bad though. And although I don't remember exactly, I would bet that it's fair to say that this kit definitely has less seam lines than like the Wave version, for example. So overall, a really nice kit here with some good detail, and of course Bandai's signature level of engineering where, you know, everything works really well. The articulation's really nice. If you wanted one that was like very posable, this is definitely a good option for you. And again, with this one, it's something that I would recommend to you guys if you just build a lot of Gunpla and maybe you're wanting to try something else. This is something that is going to be very similar, and just in terms of, because it's a Bandai HD kit, it's going to be very similar to like an HD Gundam kit. If you want something a little bit different to build just for a nice change of pace, this is a great option for you guys to check out. One thing that I wish that Bandai would include with these maybe is a couple of water slide decals would be nice, but as we know, that's just not really something that we typically get in HD kits, unfortunately. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this new version of the HD Scopedog? And as always, guys, if you want to check it out for yourself, you can check out the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. Got all sorts of great Bandai HD kits there. And then if you guys wouldn't mind leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed while you're here, I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Until next time, hope you guys all have a great day. See y'all later. Bye-bye.